Nimrod Goren is founder and president of the Israeli Institute for Regional Foreign Policies. He's also the co-founder of Diplomeds, a policy group which promotes regional cooperation in the Mediterranean, and he joins me now from Tel Aviv. Sir, a warm welcome. Haaretz, the Israeli daily, I believe one of the oldest publications in the country, had an extraordinary editorial saying that Mr. Netanyahu bears responsibility for Israel-Gaza war. Now, obviously, I want to preempt this question by saying that the horrific attacks, the massacres, the abductions, I mean, they are unequivocally Hamas's responsibility. But what I wanted to ask you is, are people asking why this happened on this government's watch? Or is everyone rallying around the flag right now? And what are the conversations taking place right now?
Yeah, so thank you for having me. There are parallel tracks over here. You know, at first, as you mentioned, this is a brutal and unprecedented attack that has caused immense damage and loss of lives for Israelis. The numbers are coming out, the names are coming out. Israel exposed now to all the stories about what happened in the different villages and kibbutzim, and this is really horrible, and it affects all sectors of Israeli society, and the events are still unfolding. So as we speak, there are still attempts to stop the hostilities within the territory of Israel, to try and help those in need, to get eventually the upper hand in the military confrontation. So that's one channel through which Israelis are united and are jointly acting and supporting those at the front and those at the back. In parallel, there are the political critics. You know, we've been experiencing an unprecedented political development throughout the last year, with the government, the far-right government, going after our democracy and putting its priorities in different directions than where Israeli national interests are. And there is a lot of anger about where the government put itself and whether it failed to protect its citizens as it should be. This calculation will be more and more vocal as we finalize the military operation, but I guess those will dominate our public debate later on.
Mm-hmm. Now, let's focus on what this crisis might mean for the region. What could it mean for the normalization with Saudi? I mean, a lot of people are talking about that right now. What do you make of the statement that the kingdom issued in response to these attacks? Was that a statement that a partner makes?
So in general, we see that such events and tensions between Israelis and Palestinians has slowed down relations between Israel and the Arab countries throughout the last month, but did not dramatically shift the trend of events. So, of course, when there is such warfare, talks about regional cooperation are put on a no-burner. But in general, the countries in the Middle East who have decided to establish relations with Israel, both the countries that have signed peace treaties in the past, those who have normalized 3 years ago, and those who are considering to do so now, eventually that's a strategic decision that is based on their calculations, their assessment, and I don't think they support the type of action that Hamas has did. They may be critical of Israeli actions in the days to come, especially when the Israeli military steps up its actions in Gaza. But eventually, once the dust settles, my assessment, and it may take time, that we will not see a reversal of this trend, and eventually the growing acceptance of Israel in the region will increase. The challenge is how to leverage that for advancing Israeli-Palestinian peace, to advancing the two-state solution, and not to advancing those who are wishing for increased conflict.
Now, in a few words, if you can, I mean, politically, what is the focus right now? How much of the current response, you know, and especially in the days to come, the weeks, the months, is framed by domestic politics? And how might that kind of spill over in terms of regionally?
It's less dominated by domestic politics. It's about the personal experiences. It's about families who are worried for their loved ones, who are mourning their losses, a military that is fighting. So this is what dominates the discourse at the moment. I think the political calculations will come later. Of course, we are looking on whether there will be some change of coalition composition. There are negotiations between Benny Gantz's party, the more centrist party, and Netanyahu, to form some kind of an emergency coalition. So politics continue, but I think the mindset of Israelis are currently somewhere else on the immediate and personal implications of this war.
Nimrod Goren in Tel Aviv, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Well, much of the